Pleasant good morning, everyone. It is now 10:12 Atlantic Standard Time, 10:13 Atlantic Standard Time in the beautiful Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And I am Simone Claxton, founder and president of the Sapphire Miriam Foundation, a nonprofit organization incorporated in Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're now on the 24th of August, 2024, and we have a very exciting session planned today for you young ladies. So before we start, I would just like to invite someone to open us in a word of prayer. Oh, hi, Dr. Joppy. Lovely to see you. Dr. Joppy, are you okay just to say a quick word of prayer for us this morning? Fantastic.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I am Dr. Robyn from the USA, so I will be happy to engage in prayer this morning briefly. All right. Father God, we just thank you and praise you for this day. We thank you for the opportunity to even have the liberty to pray. Father, we just thank you for Simone and for her team to provide a safe place for us to come for this program, the GEMS program. We thank you for the work that she's has done, is doing, and yet to do. We ask you to bless the works of her hands and may all her visions manifest and come true. We thank you for every young lady who has joined and come alongside of the GEMS program. We ask you to bless them with wisdom and knowledge and lead and guide them in their paths and on their journeys. May they have a wonderful school year and just continue to lead them and guide them in everything that they do. And we ask you to bless each and every partner organization who has joined the GEMS program and has come alongside this wonderful mission as we observe the mission, vision, and values of Sapphire Miriam Foundation. We just ask you, God, to bless every organization. We pray for every speaker who has participated and yet to participate. We ask for a wonderful session today and just be with us as we continue on this journey. These blessings we ask in your majesty, your wonderful, mighty name. Amen and amen.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Duffy. So, first of all, I thank God for health and strength and life and for yet another day. Thank you all for joining us, all our partners all over the world and in the Caribbean, our precious gems, these young ladies who have dedicated this time to their personal and professional development. I would like to thank all our sponsors. We have the National Gas Company of Trinidad and Tobago on board. We have Unitrust Corporation. We have the Trinidad Trinidad Generation Unlimited. So we have a very exciting session planned for today, which is on public speaking. And we'll also be having an in-person public speaking session, and that will be on the 14th of September. So further details will be sent to you young ladies on that session. However, next week, I want us to prepare for our cultural showcase. Next week is the 31st of August. We have Independence Day in Trinidad. However, we'd like to still have our program and extend the opportunity for you young ladies to showcase yourself in any way that you think possible. You can wear your country colors, you can wear cultural wear, cook a dish, share with us, what it's about, where it originated from. You can do a song, a dance, etc. So it's an opportunity for you to showcase your culture to your peers and to us all over the world. So I'm really excited about that one. So we'll be getting back to you during this week about some information on that. We'd also like to thank our team, our volunteers. We have Malaika all the way in Pakistan helping us this morning. So we just like to thank Malaika and our other volunteers who've been working behind the scenes really hard to put things in place. We have lots in store coming up for you young ladies and partners as we move forward. And I'm really looking forward to an exciting 2025 as we have loads planned. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you our public speaking presenter. We have Mrs. Camille Fraser-De Bellotte, and she and her husband have founded a company called the Counselling Clinic, where they provide psychological services, example, trauma counseling. They have various workshops, etc., along that personal development and emotional support. So she will give you a little information about herself. and her company and public speaking. So I'd like to welcome Camille. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Good morning, Simone. I want to say thank you for having me. And, I also want to take this time, to commend you for the race you are running. Yeah. We bless God for the opportunity to serve, and, you are serving an important bunch of people, and yet the young people. So we thank God that you have chosen to stand in the gap and support and lead and mentor and coach. And I pray that, your work does not go in vain. So I want to commend you. And, Doc, good morning to you. And, we acknowledge the presence of our God here with us. And I want to say thank you for having me and to the young women. I'm not sure if we may have young men here, but I want to say a special and wonderful morning to our young people here with us. We are in for a treat. We are in for a grand time. I am Camille Fraser-De Bellotte. As Simone just indicated, I stand with my husband as one of the directors at the Counselling Clinic. So when you think about mental health, yeah, at the Counselling Clinic, we place great emphasis there. Yeah, we are big on mental health. We understand the plague, we understand the challenges. So, we stand together doing that, serving in that area as a team. I'm also the managing director of CJ Fraser Broadcasting Production. So when you think about broadcasting, when you think about radio broadcasting, television broadcasting, when you think about hosting events, you think about speaking, motivational speaking, and here today, public speaking. This is what I do. I have been a public speaker or a motivational speaker for the past, is it 10 years, 14 years? And, I have grown in that area so dearly, and I hold a great passion in that area. So we are here. And I'm happy to serve. So I trust that some of you may have your pens and your paper, because you may want to take some very, very important notes as I go along. And yes, I have a slide that, I can share with you as well, that you would be able to jot down some notes as well. And I want you to think broad. Sometimes when we think about public speaking, we can only think a mic in hand, but public speaking goes further than a mic in hand. Let's just look at the group here with us. How many of us are in secondary school? By the show of hand. Second, right. I see one hand. Right. And some of you may be at tertiary level. Thank you. Is it Janae? Thank you so much. Aaliyah, thank you. Could Miss Boudram, thank you. So you all are in that place as secondary schoolers. But there would come a season when you all would transition from that season. You all would probably go over to tertiary level. For those of you here in Trinidad and Tobago, you would go into university, as the case may be. And some may transition into the world of work. And the thing about it is, there would come a time before you go over at tertiary level, or even before you go into the world of work, you would have to engage or be engaged in an interview. Have you ever heard that word before? Interview. And at that interview, you would have to do some speaking. So there would be an interviewer, and you would be considered the interviewee. And if you don't know how to speak, do you think you would be able to land yourself that job? No, you would have some difficulties. If you don't know how to speak and you desire to go over to tertiary level education, and they're asking some simple get to know more about you questions, and you're shy, you're timid, you don't want to speak, do you think that they would want you to come on board? That we might have some doubts there. So as we go into today's session, I want you to think broad when it comes to public speaking. Sometimes persons shy away when they are handed the mic. Miss, I don't want to speak. Miss, no, pick somebody else. Have you ever been placed in that position? You want to melt when the mic is in your hand. You want to disappear like, Miss, no. I remember hosting a competition, and the persons are coming up, and it was a spelling bee competition. They are pronouncing their words and they are spelling their words. And one young woman came up to me And she said, Miss, I can't do this. And she started to cry. So before she said that, I was giving her the mic. And her response to me was, Miss, I cannot do this. And she began to cry. And they had to take her off the stage for her to regain some kind of consciousness. So we see how deep public speaking can affect us. As a matter of fact, when we think public speaking, when we hear that word, persons shy away. You know, it has been proven. Persons shy away, persons feel intimidated. No, I can't say anything. I'm wondering how persons would receive me. I'm wondering if I'm looking the part. So all of these factors chime in, very important when we think public speaking. So let me get my slide and we would continue with the sharing. And as I go on, feel free at any point in time, should you have a question, feel free to interrupt. Miss Camille, I have a question because when I'm sharing the slide, I may not be able to see when persons use the icon and raise their hands. So if you have any questions while I'm sharing, be sure to unmute and interrupt me. Excuse me, Miss Camille, I have a question. That's fine? Yeah? Nice. So we are going into our presentation for this morning. Ms. Simone, if you can just keep check of the time for me. I know you would have allotted me a certain amount of time, and I really want to be sure to keep within that time. Nice. So introduction to public speaking and effective communication. And right above in this circle there are some words listed. So you're seeing communication, you're seeing seminar, you're seeing audience, media, influence, meeting, business, nerves. Yes, nerves are included there. Stress, podium speech. We can use a protractor. We can use a computer. Like for instance, we are using the online, and you are speaking to me through the internet, through your device, we are communicating. So when we think public speaking, all of these words that you see here before you in the slide speaks to public speaking. So here I am, your facilitator for today, to guide you in this area. Just a brief outline. Today you would gain the understanding of the elements of public speaking or effective public speaking or effective communication, verbal and nonverbal communication, the importance of active listening, very important. As we communicate, there must be an understanding that one is listening. So as I speak here this morning, you all are listening. And if anyone has a question for me, I would in turn listen together with everyone else while that person speaks. So it's a two-way street. One is speaking, one is listening. Then we would interchange, one speak, the other listen. So we would understand as well the public speaking fundamentals, the key principles that is necessary, overcoming stage fright, building confidence. Yeah, that matters. Sometimes we take the stage and we lack in self-confidence. We lack in motivation, and that there plays a critical role. Sometimes persons go to speak and they bow their heads. Sometimes persons go to speak and they speak and persons are unable to hear them because they lack that confidence. Even here on the online, some persons refuse to show themselves because, hey, I'm not too comfortable with self. So we are here to speak to that, the fright and the building confidence. We are here to understand how to control the nervousness. Yes, even as a public speaker for so many years, I still get the butterflies. And those butterflies remind me that I am human. We would gain a deeper understanding in how to control the nervousness. As simple as taking a sip of water that can help you to clear your throat and also help you with the anxiety, because yes, there would be an anxiety that you feel as you are called upon to speak. And sometimes you have something so very important to say as a business owner, as a young person. Some of us are called to speak. and we shy away because we feel less than, or we feel nervous. There would be an opportunity for recap, and you would give your feedback, your evaluation, and that would bring us to the end of my sharing. So let's go engage in an ice-breaking time. So let's go into some icebreaker here, or an icebreaker. So 5 persons, but the thing about it, the 5 persons who may put their hand in the air when you're sharing, just as you are allowed to speak, I want to see your face. So if your name is Miriam and you put your hand up to participate in the public speaking venture or segment, you must be able to show your camera. We are speaking public speaking, and even as we are online, we got to learn how to properly and effectively engage in public speaking. So the icebreaker for this morning, by the show of hands, I just want 5 persons to nominate themselves to show their hands. Tell me, 5 years from now, where do you see yourself? 5 years from now, so you would unmute your mic, you would state your name. Of course, you would bring the greetings saying good morning. You would give your name, and you would give 5 years from now, I see myself, bam, 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 bam. Yeah? And I want you to emulate my posture. So as I'm speaking to you, I'm upright. I'm looking in, I'm smiling, I'm communicating, I'm using my verbals and my non-verbals. So my verbals would be all that is coming through my mouth, and my non-verbals would be, hey, my body, my face, my smiles, my hand movements. So I want you to emulate me as you share. So as you unmute, remember, you say your good mornings and you go in giving your name. And 5 years from now, I see myself. So do we have 5 persons? Who wants to go first to get the ball rolling?
Good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Budram.
Good morning. My name is Katija Budram, and 5 years from now, I think I'd see myself in college studying psychology, which is my passion.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Budram. And my husband is a psychologist, has a great passion for psychology. So I get you. I get you. Maybe in the future we could connect, Ms. Budram. Thank you so much for sharing. Who wants to go next?
Good morning.
Good
My
morning.
name is Joppy. 5 years, I see myself improving my business, giving my parents a hand in their own business as well, helping my sisters with their school, and just being prosperous in life.
Lovely. Thank you so very much. Thank you. I hear you speak about your own business. Yeah, thank you. And that speaks to vision. So the fact that we are able to see 5 years down the road, yeah, we are able to understand that, hey, that there is a vision that I will work towards achieving. So who wants to go next? Thank you, Ms. John.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Melanie Hartwell, and 5 years from now, I see myself at university studying to become a biochemist. And I think that by the time I reach that point, I'd be 19. So I hope I'd have my driver's license and a nice car to drive by then.
Oh my gosh, Miss Harilal, I'm appreciative of that plug you make there, you know. You want to be able to go to class and find style. Come on, I agree with you. You want your car and you want your driver's license. So I appreciate that. Thank you so very much. And you said you want to study biochemistry, yeah? Nice. So I wish you all the best where that is concerned. Who is next? I think we had 3 persons. So we need 2 more. Who wants to go? I hope nobody is nervous or afraid.
Come on, ladies. The whole point of this session, so you can speak out.
I think, as I said, show face. Everyone shy away. But no,
Yeah.
we got to be able to understand why we need to be vocal and be seen as well. So 2 persons, it's not that bad. Miss Boudram, was it that bad?
Speaking from personal experience, public speaking is scary, but you tend to get used to it over a certain period of time.
Lovely. Thank you for that. That is a fact. Yeah. Tell me, 2 more persons. I don't want to call any names, so I'm giving you the opportunity to unmute and go right ahead.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Go ahead.
I see myself next 10 years from now having my own factory
Yes.
making clothes.
Hold on. Miss, is it Dublin?
Yes, it is.
Miss Dublin, what country are you from?
Yeah, I know.
Guyana. I have this love for sewing, but I can't
Yes,
seem to get the thing right.
same thing with me.
Oh my, we will grow, we will grow. We can only go up from here. Yeah, nice. 1 more person. That wasn't so bad. 1 more person.
I think we'll have Sapphire. Let me appoint Sapphire.
Sapphire.
Yeah,
Do we
I'm
have
not sure if she can put on her camera. Sapphire,
Mm.
I'm sure you know what you want to be in the next 5 years.
Hello?
Yes,
Sapphire, can I see
Sapphire.
Can you
Sapphire,
see me?
can we see you?
you?
Oh,
Nice.
how lovely.
Hello, my name is Sapphire Claxton, and in the next 5 years, I see myself pursuing a music career, which I've already started.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so very much. So I want to commend the 5 young ladies who took the time to unmute, show themselves and speak, speak about themselves, speak. Sometimes we find with our young people, it's easy for us to echo the negatives. But here's what, you see the positives? We are guided. We must be guided by the positives when it comes to, to properly benefit our lives. So the more we speak it, the more Miss Harila speaks about her intentions to be a biochemist, to go into that area, to go into that field. Listen to me, the more you would see it coming to light, coming to pass. So as you write the vision, as you list the vision, you are guided by it. So I commend each of you for engaging in our icebreaker. So let's go back to the screen for a bit.
We have Clara from Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
Clara, would you like to say hi and bring greetings from your country?
Hello,
Hi,
Larry from
Clara.
Ghana. Hi. Good afternoon, please. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful.
I'm Hilary from Social Welfare, Ghana.
Mhm.
Oh, Hillary. Okay, great. Do you want to tell us a bit about yourself, Hillary?
Okay, I'm from Social Welfare, Ghana, Kumasi Kemi, and I'm a graduate from University of KNUST. And I'm pursuing to do my master's. So I'm waiting. I'm now doing my national service. So I'm waiting to do my master's and doing my PhD in the next 5 years. Thank you.
Lovely.
Wonderful. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Hillary.
Thank you. You are welcome.
Miss Simone, are we going back to Clara? We can go ahead.
Yes, we can go ahead.
Nice.
Clara has some issues with the point.
Okay, great. I understand. Thank you so very much, Hillary. And yeah, all the best as you go forward. And it's a pleasure to have young persons represented all the way from Ghana here. Listen to me. Can you tell me about technology? Oh my word. Yeah, so we are going right back to our slide, and I urge you to take whatever notes that you would need. So we had the icebreaker, and it allowed you to speak, introducing yourselves and, showing yourself. So when we think about public speaking, Yeah, one of the keywords there, speaking, and the other keyword is public. So when you think about public speaking, it's done in the public. It's not done behind a closed door, or you're in your bathroom and you're trying to connect with an audience. No, you would be front and center speaking to a people that needs to hear or desires to hear what you have to offer. You have something very important to say as a public speaker, and there's an audience waiting for that important thing that you have to say. Yeah, sometimes you're called upon to give a speech, like, as an example, our icebreaker. Each young person that unmuted their mics, you had something very important to say. And we, the audience, took the time to listen in. So speaking, and it's only fair that I give you a definition. Speaking is the delivery of language through the mouth. Yeah, we speak through the mouth. To speak, we create songs using many parts of our body, including the lungs, vocal tract, vocal cord, tongue, teeth, and lips. So when you speak, the body parts, these body parts is so very necessary to ensure that your delivery is clear and your delivery is understood. Your delivery is well received. If you're trying to speak and your mouth is closed, you're going to have some problems. If you're trying to speak and your tongue is tied up, you would have some difficulties. You're trying to speak and you don't want to inhale, you don't want to exhale, you're going to have some difficulties. Speaking is the second of our 4 language skills. Yeah. 4 language skills, and speaking falls second on that list. It is also the second language skills we have been taught. So let's go back. Even as a baby, we were taught to listen. Come here, baby. Baby, don't do that. Mommy's calling you. So we were taught to listen, and then we were taught to speak. So we start to teach the baby to speak. Mommy, daddy, bat, ball. Don't do that. My name is, what's your name? And, we teach the baby, we engage in teaching the baby how to speak. And then we go into reading and we go into writing. So speaking is one of the actions we do the most every day. We take out the garbage, our neighbors is outside. Good morning, Mr. John. Good morning, Mr. Jim. We go into a public transportation. Good morning, drive. Good morning, everyone. We go into an office. We go to school. Good morning, miss. Good morning, fellow classmates. We got to speak even in our household. Good morning, Dad. Mom, I'm seeing some fried chicken in the fridge. Could I have the remainders? We got to speak. Someone is asking for directions. Someone is asking you about yourself. You got to speak. However, most people are very good at it, while some people may struggle with it. So we saw it here this morning. There were a few young people willing, or few young ladies willing to unmute and speak. Hey, this is who I am. And then there was those who struggled a bit. Speaking can also be defined as the action of conveying information or expressing one's feelings in speech. You have something important to say. You desire to express yourself, express your feelings in speech. That there is defined as speaking. Speaking is also the act or skill of giving a speech at a public event. So just think about the biochemist here with us. And in turn, when you go through your time in medical school and you graduate, you in turn become a lecturer. You would have to lecture on that topic. And that day would speak to you standing in front of a public or an audience in a public space, speaking. Standing in front of an audience in a public space, speaking or giving a speech. Very important note here. Our ability to speak or to use vocalizations or words to communicate while speaking is one's ability to communicate vocally in any given language. So once you are able to speak, once you are able to use words, it is proven that you can speak in any given language. So like, for instance, my husband, he takes time every night to learn Spanish. And sometimes even when communicating with me, he's trying to communicate in Spanish. And oh my gosh, I'm feeling miserably at it. But we are seeing there that yes, he's able to communicate with the English language. He's able to communicate and speak in a language that I understand. And then, as I indicated, he's learning Spanish. So in the future, you know, he would be able to speak fluently in that language. So again, once you are able to speak, once you are able to use words, vocalizations to communicate while speaking, it's your ability, or you have the ability to communicate vocally in any given language. Speaking can be formal or informal. Ladies, any one of you, or two, unmute and tell me, where do you believe you would speak? Or tell me where you believe when as you speak, you're in conversation. Tell me, what is the atmosphere, or where would you speak using formal language? When would you use formal language?
In a persons of authority.
Right. Persons of authority. Anyone else?
In a business place.
In a
with important-
business place. Really great answer. One more person. Formal language. When would you use formal language? Okay, so let me share. Generally, formal language is used in situations that are more serious. So if we're chilling at home with mommy and daddy, we will not be so formal. If we meet up on the mall with some friends, we go into school and we have our peers, that would not be so formal. When we're speaking, we would not speak, formal to these people. So we are saying here that formal language is used in situations that are more serious, official, or work-related. You might want to use formal language and mannerisms. Let's pay close attention to that M word, and mannerisms when meeting someone for the first time. But over time, you will learn to adapt the formality of your communication dependent on the situation you find yourself in. If you are going to an interview, you would want to use your formal language. You would want to speak formal. Your teacher comes into the class, you would greet her, you would use, as someone said there, speaking to persons in authority, you would want to get your formal language on par so that you would be able to communicate with them. Just think about your teacher coming into class and you addressing your teacher as, "Hey, sir, what happened to you today?" The way that you would speak to your friends, one boy, one girl, you would want to address her in a better manner. "Good morning, Mr. Mitchell. How are you today?" So we understand that there is a time and place. So in the place or in the time that we are called upon to speak formally, we got to understand the words that we use and the words that we will not use. And again, it says there that over a period of time, you would understand the time and the place based on the situations that you find yourself in. You're going to look for a job. You have a doctor's appointment, formal language. You're called to speak and address a hall of people. You came up with an idea. You came up with an invention. You would want to share from a formal place. So let's go over into informal. Informal language or speaking. Informal language is used in situations that are more relaxed. We're hanging out with people that we know well, we would speak informal. We would be more relaxed. We would be comfortable. There'll be laughter. And, you know, as we say in local parlance, the peakong. Yes. Additionally, the language we use, let me get this, when we write is more formal than the language and style of communication we use when we speak. So it has been proven that when we write, it's more formal than when we speak. And we need to look at that. Sometimes what I get with my young people, you know, when, you know, in working with young people, and yes, I work with young women at a particular organization in our country, sometimes persons don't know how to adapt. So they go into a formal setting and they speak informal. They are communicating with persons in authority and they are speaking informal. We lack the mannerism sometimes, addressing persons by their names, addressing persons, you know, with a good morning, a good afternoon, a good evening. Sometimes we walk into a business place and we find ourselves saying good morning and persons did not say good morning. And that's all good. Once you represent, and when we represent, we must adapt to that standard of representing well. Because the others don't do it, it doesn't give us the right to not do it. So when we go in, good morning, I love to give my greetings. I don't make joke with that. Good morning, everyone. Do have a wonderful day. Even as I'm leaving, do have a wonderful day. Keep safe out there. Yeah. So that shows that, hey, I'm communicating. Even though I don't know these people, it's okay for me to at least say good morning. At least say good evening. Some purposes for speaking include the following: to express your feelings, ideas, or viewpoints. Sometimes we are hurt and we don't know how to say we are hurt. Sometimes persons in our space hurt us and we don't know how to express the hurt that we feel. Someone may have wronged us and we don't know how to go over and say, hey, Jenny, you said something earlier and it really made me feel down. It really crushed me. Sometimes we don't know how to say that because we're afraid to speak. So here are some of the purposes: to tell a story, to entertain or amuse. Yeah, we have that time to laugh and smile and so forth. And we got to speak, to describe, to answer a question. Let's just think about my dear sis all the way in Guyana. And, you know, she says she wants to have this factory to sew. Even as she goes to that place, or she walks that path, there would come a time when she would have to relate certain information. Just think about her going to the bank to get a loan to establish this particular company, this particular factory. This loans officer would have to communicate with her and she would have to relate deep information to that loans officer. Why do you need this sum of money? Tell us, how can we benefit as a banking institution? Should we give you this sum of money? Give us your vision, your mission concerning this business venture. And some of us, we fall short because we never taught so deep. We never taught so far in terms of those questions being asked. It's beyond your name. It's beyond your age. It's beyond your address. It's beyond those things. Persons want details. And if you are that business owner, that person thinking about business, you need to have a structure. You need to have a plan so that they ask you about this business. You would be able to properly give a guide or properly share about that business, your business. And speaking would help you to sell your business. Speaking would help you to gain traction for your business. When persons ask you about your business, you don't go hiding under a cover and you're afraid to share about your business. You're afraid to give the business name. No. That's your business. That's your brand. You own it and you wear it. To inform or explain, to make a request, to inquire a question, to clarify thinking. Sometimes in our space, with our peers, something is said and it's misunderstood and it calls for clarity. And in the absence of clarity, there could be confusion. There could be miscommunication. We could have some bitterness in the absence of clarity. Just think about Jenny saying to another classmate that I saw Rihanna go into the bag and she took the pencil. And Rihanna, the truth is Rihanna knew that that was Samantha's pencil and she was putting it into her bag in the pocket to secure it. But Jenny didn't see that. She saw the movements in the bag and she thought that, hey, she was going into the bag. She was probably stealing and the word got her wrong. And then it called for clarity. It called for the person to say, hey, no, this is not how it went down. I went into the bag to properly secure her position. And I didn't go into the bag. Instead, I placed it in the side pocket. That there is clarity. So she brought some clarity to the situation. The next point, to explore and experiment with a variety of ideas and formats to converse and discuss. Yeah, all of those are what we do when we think about speaking. When you speak, let me see if I can get this away from floating. Right. When you speak, what comes out is unique, a unique representation of who you are. The mere, when you speak, sometimes we can speak in such a way and turn people off. Sometimes we can speak in such a way and we can sound uneducated. And no, we don't want that. When we speak, we want to represent well. Hence, I gave the persons the opportunity and I said, hey, as you come on, you emulate me. I'm upright. I'm looking into my device. It's like you're in front of me. So yes, I have the opportunity to speak to persons when they're in front and online. And whether they're online or in front of me, I'm not going to water it down. You're not seeing Miss lie down in she bed and no. I came, I put on my clean clothes and I fixed myself in order that I be able to present well. And as I speak, my mouth is opening, my mouth is closing, I'm inhaling, I'm exhaling. Yes, I'm opening my mouth to form my words so that as I represent from a unique place. So when you speak, speak boldly. There will be times when you make a mistake. It's all good. It's a part of it. When you speak, it helps to resolve issues in a respectful manner. It helps us get points across, important points across, and convey messages clearly. And I used the example earlier with the pencil in the bag and that situation. So my question is, ladies, how do you speak? Just reflect for a bit. How do you speak? Do you use your manners? And come on, if you don't use your manners, you are learning today. So as you go forward, you would use your manners. Does it work for you or against you? Sometimes we can say things and it can work against us. Is it done respectfully? Does it resolve issues or stir conflict? Are you understood when you speak? When you speak, is it in sync with time and place? Is it in sync with time and place? And that last point is very important, and we would understand that as we progress this morning. Let's continue. Communication, yes, is the backbone of our society. It allows us to form connections, yes, so we have formed a connection this morning. It allows us to influence decisions and motivate change. So even as I speak to you here this morning, I'm here to motivate change, to cause you to think, to cause you to give of yourself. And as you give of yourself, you give your best self. Without communication skills, The ability to progress in the working world and in life itself would be nearly impossible. I gave an example earlier. You desire to go into business. You desire to go over to tertiary level education. You desire to gain employment and you refuse to communicate well. That there is an obstacle. Let's look at good diction. It's essential for ensuring that the individuals listening to you understand the words you're saying. Another skill is your ability to control the volume of your speech and the speed at which you are talking or the speed at which you are speaking. Sometimes we are shy and we're speaking soft. And they know for sure that you're timid. They know for sure that you're shy. So yes, when you speak, you got to be able to manage the tone, manage the expressions, your non-vocals, your vocals, your speed, your diction, very important, because a key word there is listening. So there's a people listening to you, and as they listen, you want them to understand. Because persons can listen and not understand. So we want to be so clear that as the people listen to you, as your audience listen to you, they understand your words. You are clear. Your volume, the pitch goes up, it comes down. Your speed. Very important. Communication occurs in many forms, including verbal and non-verbal, written, visual, and listening. It can occur in person, via the internet, over the phone, through apps, calls, and video, or by mail. And one of the things that I've seen of late, sometimes persons may have a little struggle with writing well. And they choose to use the apps and they just want to voice note. Have you ever stumbled upon someone like that? It says that that person may not be in that place and, they may need a little assistance, and that there could be a block in communication. Because even outside of the phone, that use, they would be called upon to write documents. They would be called upon to read documents. And if there's a struggle, that they would serve as a hindrance. So it's very important that even if you recognize your struggle is reading, your struggle is writing, that you get help. You get help, because as you venture, as you grow, you would be called upon, and you would, want to be at a place where you give comfortably and not shy away. Not shy away because, hey, I can't read well. I can't speak well. I can't write well. So I'm saying to you this day that take time. If that is you, take time to ask for help. Take time to read and learn to read. And even as you get the help, they would, you would increase, you would grow. You would start a little bit shaky, and as you grow, you would become stronger and you'd be able to do it. You'd be able to master it. For communication to be effective, it must be clear, correct, complete, concise, and compassionate. Let's go in deeper. What is effective communication? Anybody tell me, effective communication, when you hear that, what is it? What does it mean for you or to you?
Effective communication is the ability to communicate your thoughts and feelings without any miscommunication or misinterpretation.
Who said that? I'm not seeing the person.
Khadija Badram.
Miss Budram, I feel you need to be in my seat, I feel you need to be in my seat. Come on, you know this thing, man. Thank you so very much, Miss Budram. What is effective communication? Let's go into it. But before we go into effective communication, let's look at ineffective communication. And I am very sure that some of us would have communicated ineffectively at some point in time. We had a message and it got lost. You know, there's this activity where we would have persons lined up and then we would say one thing at the starting of the line. And we said at the starting of the line, we said, I love you. You are amazing. And then 20 persons down, that person did not hear that. So that there, whoa, ineffective communication. Let's go in. Ineffective communication means that this message is lost at some point in the process of communication and that the parties cannot understand the information conveyed in the same way. So the way that the message was released or sent out, the person on the receiving end, they didn't receive it that way. That message, so I said it at the start of the line, and along the line, the message was not conveyed the same way that the sender, the initial sender, said it. This can occur in the way the sender conveys the message or in the way the recipient interprets the message. So let's just use this scenario. Mommy says to you, go do the dishes. For those of you who have siblings, I've been there, I know. Mommy said to you, go do the dishes. And you go and you say to your brother, Mommy said, go and do the dishes. And your brother becomes furious. How Mommy could tell me go and do the dishes and I did the dishes this morning? I feel she told you do the dishes, you know. And the truth is she really did say to you, do the dishes. But you come on and because you don't want to do the dishes, you came and you told your brother, Mommy said, go do the dishes. And he becomes angry. He's upset, like, I have to do the dishes again. So that day, ineffective communication, first it was a lie. Mommy did not say that. And then it caused your brother to flare up for no reason, So we are saying here that the message is lost. And ineffective communication, based on my little pick here, is the fault of the communicator. It's our fault. Just by me sharing this information here today, oh my gosh, my goal is that I give the information clear. I give it so that no one is lost. So I would have given the opportunity that if you have a question, if at some point in time you need to interrupt me so that you would be able to clearly understand by asking a question if you don't understand. So we're moving on. Let's look at effective communication. Effective communication is the process of exchanging ideas, and my dear sis there, Miss Budram, she said it. Effective communication is the process of exchanging ideas. Do you have an idea? How about thoughts? Do you have thoughts, opinions, knowledge? Sometimes you have the knowledge about maths. You're good at algebra, and your teacher, she gets some groups and she places you at the head as the lead, and you have to share that knowledge of yours. And in sharing or while sharing that knowledge, you got to be effective because she placed you in that group knowing that there are students who, they may not understand algebra. And because you understand, you are the one to effectively communicate and teach them so that they would understand and not be left behind. How about data? Do you have data that you need to exchange? So again, effective communication is the process of exchanging ideas, thoughts, opinions, knowledge, and data so that the message is received and understood with clarity and purpose. There's a purpose. And in order for it to be received well, They got to understand it with clarity. If they don't understand it, the message will not be received and the purpose will not be achieved. When we communicate effectively, both the sender and the receiver feels satisfied. I am satisfied when I give and I know my people understand. But if I give and they don't understand, you all don't understand, there'll be some confusion. And you all may not want to hear from Miss Camille again. You all may say to Miss Simone, I didn't understand a thing Miss Camille was communicating. Could you get somebody else? And this is what we want to avoid. We want to ensure that the sender does a good job so that the receiver will be satisfied. Being an effective communicator in our professional and personal lives also involves learning the skills to exchange information with clarity, empathy, and understanding. And even when we think about the world of work, if your boss give you a task, you want to be able to get that task, everything that he said, word for word, so that you would be able to give that information to the people that he has tasked you to give that information to. So if your boss said A, B, C, D, E, that is what you want to communicate to the persons who is there waiting for this information. If he said A, B, C, D, and you go in to say something totally different, confusion. The work that is there to be completed may not even be completed because there is misunderstanding. And on the point of understanding, let's go into this. So let me go back to the previous slide so we would understand what's happening here. So I said here, being an effective communicator in our professional and personal lives also involves learning the skills to exchange information with clarity, empathy, and with understanding. Let's see why. With understanding. Understanding, Miss Camille? Yes, communication is a two-way process. I said it earlier. It's a process of sending and receiving information with a result in mind. When communicating your ideas, you must be able to make them known and understood before they can be or will be accepted. So my dear sis in the picture here, let me go back. She has the idea. Oh my gosh, she is on fire because she knows what she's thinking. And she believed that she communicated it well. However, my dear brother standing there, he's confused because he doesn't understand what she said. Yeah. So again, two-way street. I am giving it and I understand. And as I give it to you, I want you to understand it as well as you receive. Yeah. Let's go in. Verbal communication. Verbal communication is the use of words to share information with other people. Yes, you have information to share. And the only how that information or the only way that information would come out is by you using your words, using your mouth, you speaking. It can therefore include both spoken and written communication. So we see why writing is important. It comes back into play. If you are called to share speech and you are called upon to write that speech for yourself, as you write it, it got to make sense. So that as you speak it, it makes sense as well. However, many people use the term to describe only spoken communication. So yeah, sometimes when we hear verbal communication, we only think about speaking, but written is also considered as well. The verbal element of communication is all about the words. The words, Ms. Boudram, the words that you choose and how they are heard and interpreted. None of us wants to be misunderstood because of our choice of words, how it's heard, and how it's interpreted, sorry. Sometimes we can hurt our parents just by our words. Sometimes we use words loosely. And sometimes when we put those words out there, it's hard to come back. You told a friend something 20 years ago and it hurt her feelings. And 20 years later, she could still remember that, Yes, the power of words. So we got to be careful with our words, our choice words, how it's heard and how it's interpreted. Sometimes you mean nothing, but the person on the receiving end doesn't interpret it that way. It happens in marriage. I say something to my husband and he interprets it the wrong way. But in order for it to have a smooth flow, if I see that there's misunderstanding, I got to clear it up. Babes, no, that's not what I meant. Nah, babes, this is what I meant. And sometimes we're not too big to do that, Jenny, no, girl, this is what I meant. Nah, you took it the wrong way. That's not it. Moms, nah, mom, Moms, I'm sorry. That's not what I meant. This is what I meant. Even to our siblings, John boy, nah. That's not what I meant. This is what I meant. Just to bring clarity. Verbal communication, therefore, requires both a speaker or writer to transmit the message and the listener or reader to make sense of it. So I'm going back a bit. When we mention empathy, understanding, and clarity, you need to put your foot into person's shoes at times. How do they feel when you speak? Do you bring sadness to people when you speak? Do you bring upset to people, bitterness to people when you speak? We got to be very careful. How about clarity? Are we clear when we speak? After all that is said and done, can persons relate what we would have said in a clear way, in a clear manner? As a public speaker and as a motivational speaker, when I go out and I'm discussing the deep topics with my young people, let's just say I was invited to speak about teenage pregnancy or drug abuse, as the case may be. During our conversation, it can get deep. Persons can cry. Persons can be moved. Let's just say someone sitting in the group, they are a victim of domestic violence, or, they would have come from a place of being pregnant as a teen, or, someone, let's just say I'm speaking to a group about HIV, AIDS, as the case may be, and someone is moved in the audience. Empathy would say that, hey, I would stop and identify with that person. That person is crying. That person is at a place where they are charged emotionally. I would stop and identify. If I continue, it says that I'm selfish. It says that I have not yet recognized that she's at a place and I need to stand with her as she's in this place. Hey, talk to me. Do you need some time? Do you need to step out for a bit? All right. Could you hand her some napkins, please? I'm here with you. Do you want me to pause a bit? Do you want me to take a break here? So it says that I'm willing to put my foot in her shoes or in his shoes before I go on. It's a touching moment. It's a sensitive moment. I didn't come with a plan to cause her to cry, but my information, the information that I'm loaded with, she has identified. So she's a little bit, she feels a little bit hurt. She's crying. She feels some pain. I want to be able to stand with her until she regains some form of consciousness, until she's back at that place. So empathy, understanding, and clarity, very important words that we need as we move in as public speakers, even in the interview. We got to be clear. We got to empathize. We got to have understanding. So we are here at nonverbal. So we spoke to verbal, and we are here at nonverbal. And we are seeing some pictures here. We're seeing two persons standing. I believe she's whispering to him. We see a pair of eyes. We see a hand showing like a peace sign. We see like a shake hand. And we are seeing a facial expression here that doesn't speak to happiness or joy. Yeah? Nonverbal communication is the transmission of messages or signals through a nonverbal platform, such as eye contact, facial expressions, gestures, posture, and the distance between two individuals. So you are going for an interview on Monday morning, and you have your rag, and you go into the interview room, and you cover your face down with the rag. So the interviewer is in front of you, and your face is properly well covered down. You go into the interview room, and you sad because of something that happened earlier. No. You go into the interview room and there's anger, that expression of anger on your face. You're rolling up your eyes. The interviewer said something that you weren't too pleased with, or they asked you something that you find, well, whoa, all of this you want to know. Even if you are displeased, they must not have the slightest idea that you are displeased. You want that job. You want that loan for that business. So your eye contact, your gestures, your posture, very important. And even as I use my nonverbals, each time I raise my hand, you're seeing my hands open. If my hands were like this, it would say that, oh, Miss Camille is closed. So even as we go into an interview, we want our hands to be open. The way that we have our hands would say a lot about us. So we must represent soft. As soft as we can be, our facial expressions must be soft. Our gestures must be soft. Our posture, soft and gentle. Even when you are communicating, you are standing with someone, very important we understand that distance between each other. Touching, another very important thing. We got to be careful with how we touch persons. We can send the wrong signals. And young ladies, even when the young men touch, we got to be mindful. And they taught us about the good touch and the bad touch. And even here, that could come back into play. The facial expression, some of us, we wear anger a lot on the face. Some of us, we don't want to smile, ladies. Smile. Smile. It takes more to frown. More to frown and less to smile. Yes. So smile. Wear you well. Wear you with confidence. You go into that interview, listen to me. And even if you are not highly qualified, your posture, your attitude, your character can land you that job. The way you speak, the way you wear yourself can land you that job. Go for it. Wear yourself well, ladies. Nonverbal communication also means conveying information without using words. Yeah. Sometimes we said a whole lot before we open our mouth. They invite you on the stage to speak, and before you open your mouth to utter your words, they would have already received you. They would have already determined the kind of person that you are by your facial expressions, by your hand gesture. Yes. So when we speak about nonverbal, this might involve using certain facial expressions or hand gestures to make a specific point, or it could involve the use or non-use of eye contact. If we are speaking to a group of people or you are communicating with someone, your eyes have no right to be closed. You see, the eyes, it matters in communication. Yeah. On top here, ladies, on our forehead. You see the cringe up? Oh my gosh, that could get us in trouble. It could say, okay, she's thinking something bad. She doesn't feel too good about what is being said. Just by this, I call it the cringe, right there. So we got to be able to have our facial muscles relaxed as public speakers. Physical proximity and other nonverbal cues, we got to use it to get a message across. And this here is a very important note, this piece that I'm about to read. A substantial portion of our communication is nonverbal. In fact, some researchers suggest that the percentage of nonverbal communication, the percentage of nonverbal communication is 4 times that of verbal communication. Let's go in deeper. With 80% of what we communicate, it involves our actions and our gestures versus only 20% being conveyed with the use of words. Can you imagine that? Miss Camille, 80% of what I communicate is actions and gestures, and only 20% is words? Yes. Sometimes our gestures, our actions can cause us to miss out on that contract, that job, that loan. Just by our body movement, we sit in the chair and we slouch. Ladies, we got to know how we cross our legs. Yes. Where do we cross our legs when we are seated, ladies? Any of you? Where do we cross our legs when we are seated? Anyone? Just shoot any answers. Ankles. And even as we cross our legs at the ankles, the knees are tilted, whether it be at the left or the right. Just when we cross it there, we tilt. We slant the knees to the left or we slant it to the right based on, the position that is best comfortable for you. And there's a reason why they would speak to the skirt being 2 inches below the knee, because ladies, sometimes we could sit, and when we sit, the skirt comes up above the knee. And if we are not properly seated, oh my, they can see everything. And we don't want to expose ourselves like that. When we sit, just by the way we sit and our posture, it must show that, hey, I hold myself well. I hold myself in a respectful manner. I hold myself in high esteem. Ladies, we're not seated and our legs open as if we are young men. No, that there too is nonverbals. How would we be represented? How would we be looked at? Let's be very careful. 80% actions and gestures and 20 words. 20 words. Facial expressions, another thing that we need to look at. How do we wear our faces, ladies? Facial expressions are responsible for a huge portion of nonverbal communication. Consider how much information can be conveyed with a smile or a frown. And you're seeing Miss Camille smiling, and that says that Miss Camille loves what she does. So if Miss Camille would be wearing a frown here, you would say, nah, man, Miss Camille don't like public speaking. If I came on and my camera is off and I'm speaking to you, you may not receive me well as if I'm speaking with my camera on. So even in the online atmosphere, we got to be so very careful. I value online so dearly that even when I'm called upon to facilitate, online, to share online, to speak, whatever the case is, I present myself as if I'm in person. From head to toe, I may not put on my shoes and stuff like that. But even with my trousers, my skirt, the top I wear, you know, even if I put on makeup, if I don't put on makeup, I must look the part. The look on a person's face is often the first thing we see even before we hear what they say. Do they see anger? Do they see sadness? Do they see disgust? Or do they see happiness? Is it a neutral expression? Do they see fear? Even when we are surprised, tell me, what do you see? What can people say about your facial expression? Can they call you a bitter person, an angry person, a sad person, just by how you wear your face? Let's be mindful as we move on. Miss Simone, how much time do I have? I hope I'm working well.
Yes, you can take like another 10 minutes.
Lovely.
Will
Will be
that be
mine.
sufficient?
Say that again.
Will that be sufficient?
I'm not.
10 minutes, is that okay?
Yeah, 10 minutes is fine. Yes. Positive body language and negative body language. When you are open, your posture is upright and receptive. Your palms are open. You lean in when you're speaking. You're listening and you're nodding encouragingly. However, negative body language can include biting your lip, nervously, you're shaking your foot. Woo, they can tell. Sometimes you're sweating. Yes. You're looking bored, even if you're nervous. Sometimes you're sweating and you don't even know you're sweating. You're looking bored. You're crossing your arms. That's bad manners. Ladies, you see this here, and you're communicating with people. That's bad manners. That's a no-no. Putting your hands on your hips and you're tapping your foot impatiently. Oh my gosh, that could be received in a negative manner. Let's work on it. Active listening, very important, and we are nearing the end. It's very important that even when we communicate, we give the opportunity to listen. Sometimes we don't listen. We don't listen, ladies. Active listening is a communication skill that involves going beyond simply hearing the words that another person speaks. You go beyond hearing. You go in. It's about actively processing and seeking to understand the meaning and intent behind them. So you're going deeper. Someone is saying something, because hear me, have you ever been in a conversation with someone and they spoke, listen to me, they pour out. And at the end of it, I mean, the person is right there and you cannot remember what was said. Anybody? Tell me, that ever happened to you?
Yes.
Oh my word. They pour out and they're talking and they're going on. And then at the end of it now, they ask you something, you know, so that you could respond. And you're trying to calculate and tax your brain so that you could remember what they were saying, and you can't remember anything. So active listening would say that you're going beyond. It requires being mindful and focused as you listening. Mindful and focused. Active listening is listening on purpose. You listen on purpose. You listen intentionally. A lot of that, even at tertiary level, sometimes your lecturer come into the class and they lecture and they don't write anything on the board. And you got to listen intently. You got to listen on purpose so that you could take your notes. I've had lecturers like that. They come in and they just share. And you know, you got to be on point to get your stuff. It requires observing what verbal and non-verbal messages are being sent. What's the message being sent? And then providing appropriate feedback. So if I didn't listen properly, I cannot provide appropriate feedback. No way I could. Active listening techniques being fully present in the conversation, showing interest by participating with good eye contact, noticing and using your nonverbal cues, asking open-ended questions to encourage further responses, paraphrasing. Sometimes persons said they give a lengthy paragraph, and just simple things you could remember, and you paraphrase. It's like you summarize to reflect what was said. Listening to understand, rather listen to respond. Sometimes as parents, we say that a lot to our children. Listen to understand. Listen to understand. And withholding judgment and advice. So let me just exit for a bit and hear if anyone has anything as we near the end. Talk to me. Anyone? No?
Personally, I think public speaking has a lot to do with the person's self-confidence and where they are at the time, because I remember at the start of the conversation, you had said something about clear dictation, right?
Yes.
So I was thinking, like, since I've joined this program, I wasn't as involved in it as I had started. I've been becoming more active and growing to the program, because at this point I feel comfortable sharing here. But if to say that session where we are all going to be here in person, that's gonna be like another me. It's gonna be so different. I'll be scared at first. Maybe at the end I'll adjust and become more comfortable with speaking to you all. But honestly, I think that you need experience and you need like some time to adjust to public speaking. It's a topic that is very opinionative, because personally I find texting people, I'm easier able to express myself. And sometimes even the messages that I text, sometimes I read them back and was like, maybe I should have written something else added to the text so that somebody wouldn't think it's in a bad manner, or like I meant like convey the message in a more friendly way, if you know what I mean, right?
Yes.
And I think that people just need to have experience and adjust and see what works best for them. And then you would know, well, okay, texting works better for me. Maybe I could use this. And then after a while, I could maybe call, and then you could talk in real, and you can grow from that and understand, okay, I've started small and I can keep on growing and get more confidence in the way I present myself.
Thank you so very much. I get you. I get you with that. And it comes over time naturally. And as you mentioned there, that consciousness to understand, hey, let me do this differently. Let me do this another way so that it would be better received. That is so, so very important. Very, very important. Yes. Anyone else? So I can just go in for for the remainder of time. Okay, great, lovely, nice. So I'm going to bring in this, on the home stretch. When we think about public speaking, it's an art and it's also an act. It's delivering speeches, and that word that continues to ring out there, effective. So we got to be effective at our oral communication. Effective at our oral communication. I'm bringing it in. When I think about public speaking, as a public speaker, if it is not done in excellence, I am not satisfied. What is excellence? Excellence is the quality of being outstanding or extremely good. Greatness, the very best of valuable quality, the quality, let's pay close attention to this point, the quality that people would appreciate, or the fact or state of excelling. Are you prepared to give your best self? And when we think about giving your best self, it speaks to the quality that people would appreciate, because sometimes we could give ourselves, could give, and people don't, they don't accept. And I'm not speaking about people who just don't appreciate you or accept you. I'm speaking about the quality that you give, it turns people away. With the definition before you, as a public speaker, it is important to note that you must aim to deliver excellence whenever you open your mouth to speak. Your audience will appreciate you. They will appreciate the effort. They will see you different. And that will also increase your confidence and self-esteem. Excellence in public speaking concerns how well you execute when speaking. Excellence requires not only providing what is promised to the audience, but going above and beyond, going beyond what is expected of you. The thing is, when you think about excellence, you are the one, you got to evaluate the excellence that you represent. How do you represent? So you can't get away from the audience or the people that you're speaking to evaluating you. But even before they evaluate you, you must evaluate yourself. So the evaluation of excellence is done both personally and by the audience. You get to evaluate you. However, you cannot get away from the audience evaluating your delivery. So when we meet in person, ladies, forgive me, the way we stand, our dress code, when I'm going to speak, based on the event, I would find out about the event. I would find out about the lineup. Who would be there? Would there be government officials there? Who would be there? And that will determine my dress. If I'm going to a sports day, ladies, I'm not putting on my business suit. Ladies, if I'm going to a function and the Minister of National Security there, the Minister of Education there, I'm not putting on my sporting shoes and I go into the meeting. No. I need to be able to understand time and place. Even the way in which I speak, how I cheer for the sports would not be how I speak to these government officials. So there will be a salutation on the podium. And my posture behind the podium, even as I read the salutation, as I speak, Honorable Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, as I speak his name, as I mention his name, I got to connect with him. I'm speaking and I'm mentioning another minister's name. I got to look. So I'm connecting with another person, a dignitary, the owner of the business or whoever. I got to say that person's name and connect. And even as I connect, I'm not connecting with a frown or disgust. I'm connecting with a nice, soft smile or greeting towards them. Good morning, sir. Welcome. Good, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say good afternoon. It is indeed a pleasure being here. I'm so happy to see each and every one of you. My dear sis at the back, you look amazing. So even as I communicate with the people at front, the reference or even me connecting with that person at the back, it says that, hey, I consider that my audience is not just to the front. Did I always have it well? No. It started and I grew. So we are going in. The goal is to educate as a public speaker, to entertain, to instruct, to influence the listeners. Therefore, you must aim to do this. You must aim to do this, ensuring that it's done purposefully. You must make that impact. You must deliver in excellence. Let that be priority. Your delivery must be purposeful, impactful, and delivering in excellence must be priority. When we look at the next slide, it says why. The top, those people are happy. They love what they hear. They applaud what they hear. They are in all smiles. However, the guy at the end there is like, what did you just say? In different instances, the objective of speech or of the speech given during public speaking might be to instruct, influence, engage, educate, or entertain listeners. However, the way in which your information is conveyed, you will leave a lasting positive or negative impression. It's like you going into a fast food outlet, or you're going to dine in with your family, you're going in at a restaurant. You would, be concerned about the customer service that you receive. If you receive poor customer service, you would be concerned. Your mom might even ask to see the manager. You go into KFC and you want a big piece of chicken and they give you a small piece of chicken, and you would be concerned. You would be concerned about the customer service that you are met with. Just like that, we can refer to public speaking. If you meet your audience, and you leave them in a way that they are, they feel disturbed, they are, you leave a negative, a lasting negative impression on them, you're going to have some issues. You want to be able to give that message, and as you give that message, you leave a lasting positive impression. You want persons to come to you and say, hey, oh my gosh, you were good. I received what you said. You were relatable. I can identify. Well done. However, if you leave a people confused, they won't be able to give feedback because there were, some issues in communication. There were some issues. So we want to work on it. It's like customer service. You want these people to want you again, to want more of you. Let's have Shania again. Let's have Clara again. Let's have Hillary again. Let's have Miss Boudram again, because of the impact that you would have made. When you think about public speaking, ladies, I want you to think global. A good public speaker understands that they must plan, organize, and revise. When Miss Simone contacted me to come here, I had to plan. I had to organize. I had to revise. I got to know my material so that as I give from a place of effectiveness. Once you've learned the basic skills associated with public speaking, you'll find it smooth. You'll find it smooth. And when you think about public speaking, you are called to influence the world around you. You are called to develop leadership skills because, yes, as a public speaker, you are looked at as a leader. When you stand and you are able to command a crowd, you are able to speak and grab people's attention, you immediately or automatically become a leader. You are a leader. Ladies, you are leaders. You are leaders. The world is waiting on you. But even as you venture into the world, you got to be able to be confident in yourself and confident in speech. What you believe yourself to be, you are. Do you believe yourself to be greatness, excellence? I'm amazing, I'm beautiful, I'm talented, I'm educated, I'm a leader, I'm successful. Do you believe these things? Or when you speak about yourself, you down yourself, you beat down yourself. Even when you make a mistake, there must be an opportunity to pat yourself on the back and say, let's do this again. Confidence in self would let you know, well, hey, I fumbled a bit, but you know what? I can get this again. I'm not giving up here. I'm going at it. And persons can recognize if you are confident in yourself or if you are not confident in yourself. Let me get just about 3 more slides to you and we will wrap up. Self-confidence is an attitude about your skills and abilities. And before I go in there, sometimes when you are in conversation with people, ladies, I want you to be careful not to glorify the bad things about yourself. We all go through in our lives trials and testings. We all can identify. Some of us, we come from a place and we could speak. But even in the midst of it, we got to be able to highlight good qualities about ourselves. When you sell yourself as a brand, when you speak about you, you must be able to speak positively. You must be able to, when they ask you, what's your name? Tell me about you. Oh my gosh, the moment you get to saying your name and speaking about you, they must know that, hey, you love you. Who else better to speak about you than you? Who else better to tell me about that clothing business that you want to go in? Like my dear sister who desires to have the factory and she can identify with me with sewing and making mistakes. Listen to me. I would plan a sketch and I'm saying today I'm going to sew a blazer. And the moment I make a mistake, I feel crushed. I get off from behind the machine and I tell my husband, I say, you see why I don't like to do this? I can't get it. And when I heard my sis, she encouraged me because I'm saying, whoa, a young woman just like myself. And here she's not just speaking about wanting to become a seamstress or sewist. She's speaking about wanting to have a factory. So I'm motivated by such. So again, your self-esteem, it means, or your self-confidence rather, it means you accept and trust yourself. And you have a sense of control in your life. Do you accept you as you are? Do you trust you as you are in spite of the challenges, in spite of your inabilities? We are not perfect. What you can do, Miss Budram, I cannot do. However, what I can do, I do it well. And what you do it well. Don't beat up on yourself, ladies, if you cannot get it right. Don't look at another person's plate and think, well, that plate's supposed to be yours. No. All of us can do the same thing. Each of us are called differently to impact different people. Know your strengths, know your weaknesses as well, and have a positive view, have a positive outlook. You must be able to set realistic expectations and goals. Don't go setting these things that you really can't reach, that you can't meet. If you have never studied science before, you're telling me you want to become a biochemist, there would be some confusion there. But if you know science is your love and the human anatomy is your love, then watch me, we could talk. So we got to know our niche. We got to know our strengths. We got to know our weaknesses. Set the goals, ladies. Write them down. If you have never made a vision board before, if you have never set your vision, you have never written down a goal before, now is the time. Today is the time. So that when you feel down, when you feel low, you have that to be guided by. So again, communicate assertively. And you got to be able to handle criticisms. Not everybody gonna like you. Not everybody gonna say good things about you. But you know what? That's not gonna move you. That's not gonna move you. So even as we come to an end, public speaking is not a death sentence. It's not a death sentence. You all will master this. You just got to practice. Ensure you have your water. Ensure that you are ready. And when I speak about ready, the way that you took time to write your speech, take time to dress. Take time to practice, to rehearse. Take time to read over what you have to speak. Even as you go into an interview, prepare. Know you. So when they ask you about you, tell me about yourself. Tell me, what can you bring to this institution? What can you bring to this establishment? You know off the back, your strengths and your weaknesses. So you know what you can bring and what you cannot bring. You know if you are a team player, you know if you're a motivator, you know if you are able to manage time well, you got to know. Congratulate yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. Encourage yourself and keep going. So I want to say thank you so very much. Yeah, I want to say thank you. Let me try this over again so that I'll be able to end well and see you all again, because I was not seeing you all just now. Nice. And let me close off from here. Nice. So we are back. I want to say thank you for having me. I believe that you all would be amazing public speakers. Yeah, you all may not, take, hold of it the way that I take hold of it. As a matter of fact, public speaking is my life. I'm called upon to speak. I love when I'm called upon to speak to my young women and my young men. And, you know, I can look at this space. Sometimes I'm called into places like St. Jude's, if you're familiar with St. Jude's. And when I go in, these young women are shattered. And when I go in now, I got to prepare a speech to let them know that there's hope, despite of how they feel about themselves. I go into places and young people would have already given up. Some of them would have turned to crime. And then I got to motivate them to see the light. So I trust that you all received. And even as you go forward, know that there's a world waiting for each of you. Set the vision. Make it clear before you so that you'll be guided. And encourage yourself, even if there's no one around you to encourage yourself, you encourage yourself. And don't forget to pray. Don't forget to pray and talk to God. So I love you dearly. Thank you for having me, Miss Simone. Right back at you.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
very
much.
much for being here.
Thank you for that, Khadija. Thank you so much, Camille. Wow, what an excellent presentation. I mean, I have learned so much. It's reminded me, you know, that I need to be mindful, you know, be conscious of how I present myself, even like online, how I speak, be more assertive. I've learned a lot myself, you know, and I'm sure these young ladies have learned a lot. I mean, these tools, they're priceless, absolutely priceless. You know, every aspect of your life is success. And I'm so excited for the 14th of September session. I cannot wait. So you'll get a chance, you know, to finish off all the information because I know it was quite a lot of information to go through in such a, you know, short space of time. But we'll have actually, you know, a physical session where we can present and practice. And I thank Melanie for speaking out. And, you know, it takes practice. And that would be a session where she would get to actually, you know, practice. And we'd all get to practice because, you know, I'm not one for the camera as well, but I don't have a choice. I do what I have to do. And, you know, I'm getting better at it, you know, because when I look a few years ago, when I first started this to how I am now, you know, I'm much more relaxed and, you know, I take things differently. So I really appreciate this session. I appreciate the young ladies who spoke up, you know. It's been absolutely amazing, amazing, right? So we just about on time now. So I'd just like to open the floor if anybody else wants to, you know, make any comments, any of our partners, you know, throughout the region or in the US or wherever. Just open the floor. I must have seen the good. Yes, go ahead. Yes, Deborah.
Miss Camille, that was very good. We're coming out from Dominica. And it reminded me so much of some of the things that I've forgotten, like the communication is 20% verbal, and it's so important. The non-verbal communication, once you get that right, you're 80% there. So we are so grateful, you know, for this session, and I want to say thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much, Deborah in Dominica. And then we have Shabika in Guyana who spoke up, and I'm really impressed. You know, these young ladies, I can see the growth, you know, and it's a great encouragement for me because, you know, as you go through, you know, your own trials and you realize you're making an impact in someone's life, it gives you that encouragement to keep going, you know, to continue, and that there's no quitting, no stopping. You have to keep pressing through. You know, so we all need that encouragement, and I must say I am encouraged. Thank you so much for this session again, Camille. Thanks to everybody for participating. And I'd just like to invite Malaika to play our closing song. And I would like to invite the young ladies to feel free to stay on afterwards, you know, for a few minutes if they want to chat, you know, ask any questions, etc. And if Camille can stay on, that's fine. If not, we'll stay on and interact with the young ladies for a few minutes again. So anybody wants to stay on, feel free. We'd just like to say thanks to our sponsors, Trinidad Generation Unlimited, TGU, the National Gas Company of Trinidad and Tobago, and the Unit Trust Corporation, because without them, this program would not be possible. And we would like to invite all our other sponsors to come on board as we await. So thank you to everyone who has joined us today as we play our closing song.